All right, y'all. So has somebody told you to journal, to reflect on your thoughts, to write down your emotions, write down what you're thinking? This process is so helpful, and I'm going to show you how to take it to another level. Because if you just leave your thoughts on paper without making peace with them, without making it something new that you are identifying with as you shift and you elevate through this process of change, you will leave it where you last left it, in your mind, in your subconscious mind, in your conscious mind, in your attitude, in your personality, in your characteristic. It will be the same. Now, it will feel good maybe to put it down, maybe it won't. Maybe it does nothing for you. That is not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is the process of taking an idea, a habit of thought, a belief that is holding you back, and how to shift that into a new identity, a new story, making peace with it, ultimately making peace with it, which then allows it not to have power over you anymore. Because I know you've been there, where you keep thinking about that thing, and you keep thinking about that thing, and you're like, I'm not gonna think about that thing, and you keep thinking about that thing. Yeah, I know, it's heavy. But the more you tell yourself that you're not gonna think about that thing, you're gonna think about that thing. And the more you talk about that thing, doesn't it make sense? I want you guys to think about this logically, since everybody wants to be logical, and everybody wants to make all these rules about how things work. Okay, let's play really quickly before we get into it. If you are always talking about something, doesn't it make sense to think that you're never gonna forget it? Maybe, yeah. Right? Like when you hear that song over and over, before you know it, you start jamming and tuning it to it without the actual song on. That's the same thing with all the stories about what's happened in your life. Everybody's been hurt. Everybody's been taken advantage of. Everybody's had things that are so bad that's happened to them and hurt them. It's happened to everybody in their own way. And you can never, ever, 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 ever say that that person's had it less worse or that person's had it worse, because you have not lived their life and you're not in their mind. You can't see through their eyes. You haven't been with them since womb to now. So with that being said, being mindful of the stories that you play in your head, verbally, writing, singing them, I don't care what it is, but repeating it over and over and over magnifies it. It amplifies it. It sets it in stone. It's adding another brick and adding another brick and building this really nice big wall about it. Okay? So if you're done with that and you're ready to move on into something new, what do you have to do? You have to shift your focus. You have to open another door. You have to write a new story. You have to think a new story. You have to feel a new story. You have to want a new story. Because some people are comfortable there, uncomfortably comfortable there. And that is their prerogative in their life. But I know for me, that was the decision, that was the game changer that made me who I am today. And also, guys, a little quick side note, the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I've lived it and I've felt it. Because I've gone through that process of getting from here and telling myself these stories that kept me feeling really small to here. And there's so much more to go. And I'm going to take y'all along the journey. All right. So with that being said, let's get into it. I want you to think about one thing that it's been bugging you. It could be a breakup. It could be a money issue. It could be a job issue. It could be a people issue, a trust issue, a forgiveness issue. I really want this thing, but I can't have it issue. Whatever. A health issue. Now, when you think of that thing, I'm sure it came real quick, right? You might have 5 things. You might have 10, whatever. Now, when you think about that thing though, or those things, what are you saying about it? Now, for me, I'll give you some examples of some things that I have had recently come up with within me. Finances. Making sure that I have enough to do everything that I want and pay all my bills. How do I make that happen, right? Being in that situation when things are coming up. Now, I'm not wanting this thing to take over my energy. I'm not wanting this thing to bring me down. I'm not wanting this thing to go down this rabbit hole, right? So when you think about that thing, think about it as this like energetic field. You know, like you start driving a car and as it goes, it's picking up speed. That is what your thoughts do. That is what your thoughts do. As soon as you start thinking about it, it'll pick up. And if it's heavy, it immediately feels negative within you. If you've been thinking about it for a while and it's something that's been really tugging on you, right away, you're going to feel the negative emotion within you. You're not going to feel good, period. And that is your sign. That is your communication. So are you paying attention to it, or are you being numb and kind of pushing these negative emotions aside? Because that is the way to not let that thing spiral out of control. That is the way to stop the car before it gets to 50 miles an hour and you can't stop it. That is the way to slow it down so that you can then focus onto something that's gonna elevate you, move you forward, get the answers to your questions without falling into this trap. You see? Okay, so we're aware. That's number one, because if you ain't aware, you're not going to be able to know that that thing is bothering you, that it's coming up again, that you just started thinking about it again. You got to be aware. Pay attention to your emotions and how you feel. If you feel negative emotion, something is off. Period. Point blank. Tune in. Second thing, what do? If you're aware, you got this choice. Now, in the beginning, you're going to be like entertaining it, and you're going to be learning. And as you learn, you're going to see that by entertaining it, it gets worse. However, when you start to decide to shift and say, ooh, look at me thinking about that thing again, laugh about it, smile about it, be proud about it, that you're paying attention and tapping into yourself and your self-awareness and learning about what you're thinking about so that you can shift and empower yourself instead of letting that thing disempower you. How about that for empowerment? How about that for mind shift change? How about that for elevating yourself so that you're not stuck over here on this bullshit that keeps you down, and instead over here. Now you might be saying, yeah, but Leslie, you need to make these finances happen. You're right. But where do you think my creativity and my on pointness and my clarity and my empowerment and my confidence comes from? You think it's going to come from a place of fear and of being worried and having anxiety and, oh my God, the world is ending because this thing, I haven't figured it out? No. In fact, I'm going to make that shit worse. Come on, that seems pretty obvious. So what is the better thing to do? Because being worried about the thing is not going to get you to that answer faster. It never does. It makes your problems worse. I hope you guys can see that very clearly and pay attention to everything in your life that you have given a lot of negative emotion to and see that that shit doesn't change because it's a pattern of thought. And the more you verbalize it, the more you affirm it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that shift is really important. So now we're shifting. We're being playful about it. We're saying, ooh, look at that. I'm paying attention. And what it is, it's less feeding of this and more feeding of something new. It's an animal, all right? You have to decide which one you're going to feed. And when you decide to not give that negative animal any more food, and you start to give the positive one, the courage one, the I can do this one, the hope one, the belief one, eventually this one picks up speed. And we're going, and we're driving, we're going 100 miles per hour. And this one becomes less and less and less and less. From spinning really fast to going slower and slower and slower. And before you know it, this thing doesn't trip you up because you've got all this positive momentum going on. Does that make sense? I know this makes sense. I know you're feeling this right now. And if you are, I want you to send this to someone that you know will benefit from this video. Send it to one person that popped up into your mind right now or as we were watching this video that they gotta see this. Because that's all it is, friends. It's doing that thing less and doing this new thing more. And in the beginning, ooh, it's a tug of war. In the beginning, you're like, but damn, I can't stop thinking about this thing. But I know I can change. Leslie told me how to do it, I'm gonna do it. Okay. Oh, there I go, thinking about it again. 2 seconds later. All right. Let me reset. Let me think of something funny. Let me go watch that thing. Let me go wash the dishes. Let me go wash my ass. Let me go take a bath. Let me go roller skate. Let me go jog. Let me go run. Let me go move. Let me go count my fingers. Let me go look at the stars. Let me actually sit here and be and just look at my body and reflect on how amazing things actually are. And every time you shift, this gets easier and easier and easier. I can guarantee you that. I can promise you that. And I can show you that. So also, now that we're here, if you are interested in learning how I can help you, DM me right now, Emotional Mastery, and I will see if my Emotional Mastery program is a good fit for you. Because this is all part of the game of life. Anything that we want to do, we can, but it's about having this understanding that these things take time to build, and you're the only one that can build it. No one's going to come and be like, oh, let me change your brain real quick. Nope. You better put in the work, and it's so worth it. I promise you. You'll walk away knowing how to look at things in a new way, how to understand things in a new way. How to be able to ask yourself the right questions, to reflect on yourself, to give yourself a new identity that's going to help you to grow. How to look at things without so black and white, but being able to actually reflect on something with perspective, with understanding, with more patience, with more awareness, with more love, gratitude, appreciation, and all the good feels. And that really is what will change your life forever. And all your relationships with it, your relationships to money, to health, to people, to romantic relationships, to the way you look at everything in this world, it will shift. All right, y'all, that's all for today. Comment below, biggest takeaway. DM me if you want to hear about the program, Emotional Mastery. This is gonna be on YouTube too, so you can comment below and I will reach out to you with Emotional Mastery. I will reach out to you. And with that being said, y'all, have a beautiful day. Let's go.